John. I think I already recorded this, but my very first little orientation check, um, almost couldn't cash it because it didn't have my legal name on it. Anyway, now the second check, which is my first, first official check, with more money in it. Yeah, that was a problem because I get there and it's not signed, and basically, I rushed to the bank, barely made it, got in line. I finally got called. The teller was like, yeah, I can see you. I'm like, okay, get up there. Like, oh, it's not signed. I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, that means you can't. I'm like, oh. Anyway, today's Friday. One of the days this week that I worked. Sunday is the second day I've worked this week. Anyway, I just basically want to say, okay, Friday I was supposed to be seeing, basically a main boss, main manager, someone who could sign the check, someone who's official. They did, luckily. Before, at the very beginning of my shift, I, gave it to them. It's thank you for signing it. Okay. A few hours into my shift, one of the managers is like, John, after you're done with that, we have to have a little talk. I'm like, okay. I didn't say it like that, but in my mind I'm thinking, okay, it doesn't sound too good, but I mean, okay. What could there possibly be this time? What could there possibly be? There was nothing. I didn't get into anything with anyone again or anything like that, or there wasn't any weirdness between me and the other coworkers, so I was kind of confused. Anyway, he's like, okay, finally, he came back. He's like, okay, pull up a chair. I'm like, okay. Sat down. He's like, okay, so tell me what went wrong when you were talking to the manager. Now, what the situation was, basically, in order for me to arrange to have the check signed by the official person, basically I had to basically have them called and notified, hey, this is what needs to be done. The person I was talking to, Isha, they're a bitchy coworker. I think I've documented that already. They're a really bitchy coworker. They have an attitude. But anyway, they're like, oh, hold on, I'll call them. I'll call them and then I'll call you right back. They never called back, and then I called them. Well, I called the store again, and then they're like, oh, well, they left. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why the hell did they tell me that they would be back if they were planning on leaving? Whatever. I finally got up with the official person, the main boss, the store owner, or whatever. I talked to them, and it was kind of frustrating because, okay, I'm talking to them, right? I'm just trying to say one simple thing, trying to lay it down. I'm trying to say one simple thing, and they kept pausing, and they basically kept like, okay, hold on now. Let me assess this problem because I'm new. I just came in and says, I don't know what's going on. I said, yes, I understand that. I don't know what the problem is. What is it? What is it with people? I don't know what the problem is. Every time I end up talking to them, it's somehow it's... I just don't know. Something happens. They say that I'm rude. I'm just talking plain as can be. How am I being rude? And anyway, whatever. So I'm talking to them, and basically I had to spell out my name. I'm like, okay, this is my name. I'm spelling it. Let's say my name is Sarah, whatever. I'm like, Sara. In the middle, I stop. I'm like, okay, also let me know if you need me to repeat something. If you need me to say it again. Why the fuck did I say that? Because, look, that happens. V's translate into B's or D's. I just, since this is official, since, the check kind of depends on it, the last thing that I wanted is for them to mess it up and put the wrong name on the check, and then I can't cash it anyway. Or, if they get the wrong name, when I said the right name, if they get the wrong name, I don't need them basically turning the situation around back on me and be like, well, they told me the wrong name. They must have been joking around when in all reality, I was being as serious as possible. So yeah, this is a very serious thing. Anyway, my manager's basically tell me, today, this thing that happened today, with one of the managers, not the boss person, but anyway. They're like, okay, tell me what went wrong with that. I said, okay, I know, I was thinking, first I just sat there kind of confused. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? It got handled, we worked it out. We got to the conclusion, me and the boss on the phone. I'm like, we worked it out in my head, but I'm like, okay. Let me think, because he's staring at my face like he needs me to say something. But yeah, he's staring at me like with a look on his face, like he's waiting for me to say something. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, okay, like, I do remember there was a bit of a mix-up, like, they thought I meant that I couldn't cash the first check, when really, then he interrupted. I don't like when people do that, but you see what I'm saying? Like, if he wouldn't have interrupted, he would have heard what I had to say. Because now, I was going to say, there was a bit of a mix-up. She thought I was talking about the boss. She thought I was talking about the first check still. But I already told her that that's not the issue. First check has been worked out. You know, like that, I've already cashed it. And, you know, meanwhile, I remember when I was trying to talk to her, she was still talking about, she was like, okay, so let me know the first check. You have not received the first check, right? Or you were supposed to come here and pick it up and it wasn't there? Or was it that, you know, the check couldn't be cashed? Was there a problem with the check being cashed? And literally, I was on the phone with this woman, like, thinking to myself, like, no, that's not what I just said. I'm not talking about the first check. I just told you it's the second check. Like, I literally just told you the first check is irrelevant. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Fuck. Of course, I didn't put it like that. And I try not to have a tone in my voice. Talking as plainly as can be. And maybe someone's sitting there going like, right, you were talking without a tone. But no, I'm serious. I don't understand what it is. I don't ever try to talk to people and be a dick. I don't. I don't understand. I was getting a little like frustrated and annoyed, but none of that was transparent. None of it. I made sure of it. Whatever, like I said, this is pretty serious. It has to do with money. So yes, I was saying my name. I'm like, okay, it's this. Do you need me to start over? Oh, you know, can you hear me? Do I need to talk slower or something? Like, can you understand? Basically, the boss, not the boss, but like my manager today, they're sitting me down and they're basically trying to make it seem like this is what the boss had said. I hope you can distinguish the boss, the person I needed to sign the check, the official person, versus the manager who sat me down today. I'm just really trying to make that distinction. So the manager, not the boss, the official person who I was talking to on the phone to get the check handled, not them, but the manager today in my face was basically like, yeah, they told me, they as in the boss, that you were really rude, sarcastic, and condescending, saying things like, do you need me to slow down and talk slower? Can you understand me? Do I need to say it again? And you were being very rude. I'm like, no, that's not what happened at all. I mean, as far as do you need me to talk slower? Do you need me to repeat it? Did you understand what I'm saying? That's what you do. That's what you do, because I had to make sure she understood. You know, I had to make sure that she understood what each letter I was saying, because like I said, I have to say it like really gently now, I have to emphasize it, and I guess over exaggerate the tone, the sound, because I'm like, you know, B's, they can sound like D's or V's, P's. So I'm not saying, you know, on the phone with her, again, it wasn't like this. I'm not saying on the phone with the boss, I was like, it's B as in boy, V, do you understand? No, I wasn't like that. Again, I just don't see what the problem was. I don't understand. And here I am sitting there in that chair, like being penalized. And anyway, like basically no defense. It sucked. It sucked ass. Because now they were sitting there looking at me. They're looking at me, and there's like this speculation in the air that I'm such an asshole. And it just, with Isha and her bullshit attitude, how she tries to flip shit around. She's like, I can tell you're being sarcastic. It's alright. I can tell you're being sarcastic when I just respond normally to her question. Like when she's like, you think you're being funny? When I had plainly just said yes ma'am. Like before. And she asked me something, I say, yes ma'am. She's like, oh, you trying to be funny? Like I'm serious. No joke. It just, whatever. Anyway. So basically, it kind of wrapped up to no matter how much I was like, no, I didn't say that. I mean, I only said, do you need me to repeat this? Because basically what I just told you, because B's sound like D's, blah, 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 and it's very important that it needs to be done. And then he was like, oh, well, that boss, the boss, they're a really happy person. They never would report this if it wasn't serious. So the fact that they told us this, that stresses that it was really important. It was really rude. And he basically wrapped it up with, if that were me, if you would talk to me like that, which keep in mind, it's not like he even heard the conversation, so he doesn't even really know the fuck what he's talking about anyway. This is he said, she said stuff. This is basically, it's kind of like that telephone game. Someone really doesn't understand the meaning or the tone, or they perceive something that someone else said another way, whether it's way better or absolute worse. Like, they can take a simple phrase and basically flip it upside down, make it seem like it was just the worst thing possible. And then of course they pass that junk onto someone else, and maybe they put their own words into it. Words get recycled and filtered out all the time. What I'm just trying to say is I basically ended with, he was like, if that were with me, if you were that rude with me, you would have gotten fired. And he just ended like that, and I'm like, okay. And he was like, okay, so that's all. You can go back now. And I stood up, was getting ready to leave. But I stood there for a second, because am I really going to walk away and just, take that? Am I really just going to walk away and let them have that last word? Because that's not at all what happened. No, let me try to explain this more. Because this isn't how it's going to end. You know what I'm saying? Okay, if you, look, put it this way. If you let things slip, if you let people do certain things to you, if you let things slip because you want to be the nice guy, they're going to keep happening. People are going to keep putting words in my mouth and saying that I said things, or they're going to keep, they're going to roll on with this bad boy image. And I'm not going to let that happen. So I stood there and I'm like, okay, am I really going to, let this become the truth or whatever? Anyway, I stood there and I turned to the manager. I'm like, okay, look, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with this because, this is a situation that has been elevated to the next level, and that in no way was how it actually was. That's not what I meant. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know why the hell they taken it that way anyway. I don't know. But then he was like, okay, well, they also told another manager this. And they called another manager, let's say manager number 2. They called them in. And in my head, I'm like, okay, what the hell? You're going to have someone else. There's going to be you two standing over me, penalizing me now. And I'm sitting in a chair. Do you understand what I mean? I hope you do. Why are you going to bring a second person in here to try to, intimidate me more and make it seem like, because the other person in there is going to basically be backing you up. That's going to be